Chris from 3W sent over these floor mats to give a quick review on. Start by giving these a quick pull and getting these out of the box so we can see what we got here. There are these drawings in the box. I wasn't quite sure what they were, but it turns out to be a rocking horse. I have to say my first impression of these mats is that they're very nice, super plush. They also have these little clip things to clip the carpet piece to the rubber piece, which originally I thought was so that you could take the carpets off and easily wash them by throwing them in the washer or something. Turns out they're actually for taking them off before you go, off-roading or skiing or to the job site or whatever. So it makes it really handy. Looking at the instruction manual, I was going to try to do this the correct way and actually follow the instruction manual step by step instead of just throwing everything in like I typically normally do. But these QR codes to get the instructions are these round little circle things that my phone just would not scan. So I just had to look up on YouTube and find their proper installation guide. The Smugglers Bay was the first piece that I put in, and it just drops right in. There's these little nubs that you can cut out so that you can have the water draining, and the dividers fit right in on top of it, and there's no fit issue or anything. The Frunk was a little bit different. I have the net to hold everything down, so when you put the mat in, you kind of lose access to the net. As you can see here, the floor mat doesn't sit perfectly flat because of the net, and it looks like it comes up a little bit around the edge there, but after about a week of sitting in there, everything fell down nice and fit perfectly. As you can see, I stacked the factory Tesla mats on top of each other because I didn't really have any place to store the carpets they came with, and I wanted the rubber on top to help protect it. Following the instructions, it says to clean the floor, so I vacuumed everything real good. As you can see, it needed it pretty badly anyway. When it came to installing the floor mats, they installed super easily. I just slapped them in there and they fit perfectly, nice tight fit, and set down very flat right off the bat. So here it is installed, and it looks very nice. There's a little bit of a gap up here at the top, but after a couple of weeks of having these in there, they set down out in the heat. But I installed these as soon as I got them out of the box, so they're still a little bit bent and folded from shipping. As you can see, the Tesla mats, they are not super well fitted. There's a lot of gaps everywhere, and these have been in for quite a while. As you can see, these fit much better than the factory ones. There, again, is a little bit of a gap around here, but that all closed up after just a few weeks of sitting in the truck. So the rear piece was quite a bit longer to install and took much longer to clean. I hadn't cleaned back there in a while, and I've got 2 kids. Also, as you can see, these little bump outs here, whatever these are, Tesla actually did a fairly poor job of installing these, which caused the floor mat, when I installed it in the rear, to not fit perfectly. But it wasn't that big of a deal because they're under the seats and I have a little storage thing under there. Even though this was quite a big piece here, I was easily able to install this by myself without any help. Everything just kind of slid right into place and looked very nice. These floor mats are much higher quality than the Tesla ones, and because there's the carpet on top, it actually quiets the cabin down a little bit and everything just feels much more luxurious. So before these mats, I have a $50 mat that I got from Home Depot. I had to cut it back so that I could still open the Smugglers Bay, but it was to keep the dog from sliding around whenever she rides back there. So this was definitely the biggest piece to install, but still fairly easy to do. As you can see, I had to give it a little bit of a kick here to get it all the way to the back. A second person would have probably made this a little bit easier. The tie-down holes have to be cut out manually. I just used the razor blade, which is probably the least safe way to do this. All right, now that everything is installed in the back, it looks good. There's a little bit of a bump out here when I first installed it, but a big benefit is I can actually open the Smugglers Bay with this thing installed, which I couldn't do with my homemade piece that I had at the beginning. This is after a few weeks. You can see that the bumps have laid down flat, and if you look along the edge, the fit here is near perfect. So this is the rocking horse thing that I found inside the boxes. So my daughter and I cut this apart and built it just to have a little bit of fun there. I would not recommend putting a real baby on this.